Hey guys, welcome back to the Playbook podcast. I know we haven't been here for a while, but we're back once again with another banger episode. I hope you guys are going to stay tuned. Today we have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about coaching development and also just going to talk about, we're going to have a nice discussion at the end. Hope you guys stay tuned. Is you got something to say?
Yeah, man. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Let's get to 100K by the end of this year. We're so close. We just got to get more people. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. And you guys want to introduce yourself? We also have another guest, my cousin. He came from Texas a couple weeks ago. He's going to be staying here for the rest of the school year. Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sandro Kaumba.
Yes, sir. How old are you and what school you go to?
I'm 17 and I'm a former Pato High School student in Katy, Texas.
And where are you originally from?
I'm from Angola.
Hey, that's good. How about you, Coach?
Yes, my name is Ali Rugira, but you guys can call me Coach Ali. I'm from Rwanda. I'm the founder and owner of Ubuntu Matters Basketball.
That's great to hear. All right, let's start off with our first topic is general player development. What are your top priorities when it comes to developing a player's weaknesses?
I go first? Or should I? Yeah. What comes first, I believe, is the will to want to develop first. Because as a coach myself, I might want to help you develop, but if you don't want to be developed, that might be a different story. So personally, I would say that for player development, when it comes to that, it's all about consistency and willing to put in that work.
And how do you assess a player's strengths? What about you, Sandra?
I mean, what Coach was saying is pretty much it. Like, players have to want to get better for it to actually happen. I mean, if they don't want it, it's never gonna happen. No matter what you do or say to them.
And how do you assess a player's strengths?
I mean, really try to find those strengths and weaknesses and really get on it and just try to make them better. Find what they like to do, what they want to do. Yeah.
And what were your strengths and weaknesses when you were playing at MLS next?
I'll probably say my biggest weakness was my fitness. It was really hard for me to in the beginning try to stay on the pace with the game. For being in my first time playing in such high level competition. Um, yeah, I mean I was having a hard time keeping up with those players, fitness wise, strength wise. I had to put the work in the gym, go in the field. Those fitness drills I had to do them to get to the level.
Did you end up having any strengths at the end?
Yeah, I mean my fitness really did get better. I was a much faster player, much stronger player by the end, and yeah.
And what role do you think coaches play in a player's development?
For now, I think, as we say at the beginning, it's all about the will or the want to do that, first of all. And I think right now, for the player development, as I can say, we're getting there. But for example, here in Maine, I would love to see that more happening, keeping that thing being consistent. We might have like one kid who want to work out once a week. Like you're not gonna see that result because it's not consistency. So we would like to encourage everybody to just put in at least like one workout, not only one, like two, three, depends on the age level. I believe for someone who's 16 to 18 years old, you should be in the gym at least 5 times a week. Uh, 12 to 14, you should be at least 3 times a week. And that's when you start adding those Vertimax training, try to get more explosive. Somebody who's a little bit younger than that, let's say, for example, 10 to 12, at least twice a week, and focusing on more like skill development, but mostly trying to encourage kids and try to grow the love of basketball.
And how do you approach skill development for players at different levels?
That's a really good question. On the skill or player, they might have a different skill level, but what I can say as a coach, it's all about understanding what the player want to improve on first, not bringing the whole bunch of drills and everything at the same time, because you gotta learn like, hey, maybe you don't even know how to shoot. Why should I be teaching you your steps and everything like that if you don't even know how to shoot a ball first of all? So it's all about making sure like you understand the game first of all. You see what the kids want to work on. Some kids they might want to, they see a lot of NBA things, they want to just jump all the way there. But as a coach, like you gotta chop down everything and make sure that you following like the process. It might be a little bit boring for some kids, but the structures there, the print or the blueprint is over there. So we need to focus on like how can I say that? We need to focus on the long term improvement instead of like just bringing like a bunch of whole everything like at the same time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It didn't, and also as a coach, I see most coaches don't always do cone drills, but you think cone drills really help with the player's development, or does game situation scenarios help more for them to understand how the game goes?
All right, as a player yourself, let me ask you a question. All right, if you're playing and going through the cones, you don't have a defender on you. Once you go to the game, what do you think will happen? When you're shooting the ball, for example, there's nobody guarding you. But if you remove those cones, the drills, those are fun. It's just to make you feel comfortable. But if you can have somebody who can play defense on you while you're doing those drills, that's much better because that's more of like uh, game wise or game scenario that you're working on instead of just playing by yourself going through the cones.
And what kind of drills and exercises did you have at MLS?
Um, for the club I played for, we really focused on defensive and like it was a very defensive team, because that's where we were most strong at. I mean, one of the things our coach really focused on was getting the players to last the full game, and getting the players to be strong at those really tough minutes of the game, the last 15, the last 20 minutes of the game. That's something that they really focused on, because players get tired and they start to give up in the last minutes, and there's still a chance or while you're up, our coaches really try to have us like maintain our strength throughout the whole game, and that was really important. Something that we really worked on a lot.
I do agree with that one. Lasting a lot of time throughout the game, especially those last minutes are painful. Even in basketball, even if you're playing like 40 minutes, it's still painful. You got to run up and down all the time. You got people diving on the floor, going up for rebounds, people getting hit on fouls. So, like, it breaks you down a lot. But, I mean, as long as you're able to last through that, it gets you enough offers for you to get to D1. D1, you definitely need to last as much time as you need. Same thing with NBA. It's all levels. You have to be able to play full time. And as long as you're able to do that, you're able to do whatever else you do at practice to work on your skills, anything, strength, in the gym, anything. All of those come together. Each and every one of those things play a big part in your game. So that's definitely what I see when it comes to lasting and also just putting that work. And what are some specific drills or exercises do you use to build the players' particular skills where they're stronger at and also where they're weaker at?
One of the drills that I like the most, it's I like teaching kids or like any player like shooting. Shooting is one of the most important thing when it comes to basketball. Of course, we already know that, and passing that comes with that too. Like I haven't seen much coaches around here working on passing. Like everybody want to do the drills, the cones, and everything. That's fine. I'm not against that, but what I would say it's shooting. I like to start close to the basketball, like get a shooting form. Like once you get in the mood, you can start advancing, go a little bit farther from the hoop. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely shooting form is important. Me, my dad, and Israel, every time we're in the gym, we do definitely work on passing. Passing is a big part of the game. If you're not able to pass, not sure if you're going to be able to be on the court for too long, unless if you're a big man trying to get points in the paint and getting rebounds mostly. But facilitating is definitely a big part. You can see that in many point guards games in the NBA. A prime example, Chris Paul right now, definitely one of the best facilitators in the league right now. Yeah, 100%. We work on it. We do overhead passes, behinds, all that stuff. At Rivals, we do transition passing. We do outside the paint. We go full court, do different passing and stuff like that. definitely works and definitely helps a lot. What do you think, Israel and Sandro?
Yeah, and how do you balance?
What do you
What was
think?
your question?
Like does passing play a big part in games and also working on specific skills on a player? Does it help them
Oh
a
yeah,
lot?
it does help with a lot of things. Like we usually work out in the gym. We start with ball handle. We use chairs and we go around the chairs and then we go on the wall and we usually pass on the wall. We start going like half court is a medium pace and then full court we start running and then we keep doing the same thing over again.
It's really important to focus on specific skills if you're really trying to get to the next level or trying to get better as a player.
And how do you balance skill development with also game preparation?
What I can say about skill development and what do you say and
Game preparation.
game preparation. What I encourage most of the kid is that before, like, for most of the time, before you even go to play games, you gotta put into work, like skills, trying to get better first of all. So when it comes to the game, like things might be easy for you because you already put in work. So uh, to get prepared for the game, I like to encourage most players to have, like, how can I call that, ritual? Like everybody gotta have their own thing or routine. For example, for me, I like to listen to my Afrobeat music that hype me up. That way I can be ready for my training. So I encourage most players to have their own ritual, have something that makes you comfortable, like cooling you down so you don't be so nervous before the game. Then, as we've been practicing during practice and we work on those game scenarios. So we try to encourage that as much as we can. That way, once you get to the game, it becomes much easier for you. That way, you don't have to act like you have a zombie in your face. That's why we talk about like having somebody playing against you during practice. That way, you imitating the basketball game once that comes up.
You know, Coach, we've been asking a whole lot of questions about player development, but we haven't had any questions about your career growing up.
Yeah.
What was it like playing basketball growing up, and can you tell us what did you do to develop your game?
That's a really good question. I mean, as I told you at the beginning, I'm from Africa. So I'm from Africa, Rwanda. I grew up in Congo. I mean, that's where I was born, but I grew up in Congo and in Rwanda. So I didn't watch that much of NBA because of time differences. You don't get much time to watch basketball. But mostly when I started playing basketball, basketball wasn't even my first game. I grew up playing soccer as most of African kids. I grew up playing soccer, playing table tennis, but I started playing basketball a little bit late. Uh, uh, I started playing basketball a little bit late, but it was because of my height. And most people were like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, shouldn't be jogging the ball with your foot. Just they try to come and try to make it easy for you to just hoop." And that's how I ended up playing basketball. But me growing up, I was a little bit of a rebel. Like I didn't want to be like be in a box all the time. I always wanted to try new things, try playing to play different spots. So for me, playing basketball back in Africa, I didn't really get much chance to play like in big leagues or big teams. I wanted to start playing, not only playing. I wanted to start coaching because that was my way of making money, try to pay the bills, and things like that. So I started my coaching career a little bit early. I was only 15 years old. So that's when I started coaching basketball. So I
And
didn't really play basketball that
and
much.
how was your transition from being a soccer player to turning into a basketball player and a coach right now?
Yeah, that was much easier because as I tell, like as a football or a soccer player, like you have the footwork. The footwork is there. When you're jogging the ball, you're running, you're using much of your foot. So when it comes to basketball, as when you're teaching, for example, shooting, we use the word beef. I think you guys know what beef stands for, right? So I can explain that. Beef stands for balance, eye, elbow, and follow through. So balance, that's the first thing. What gives you balance is the foot. So playing soccer and going transiting that to basketball that was much easier because I could run. So that was much easier for me to transition to basketball.
You see, I can make a connection to that as well. Playing, so I actually I grew up playing soccer. Basically, at the beginning of my life, I played Seacoast and GPS. I used to watch Sandro and his team play when they're at GPS. We'd have our game on like the small fields, and we'll walk down the hill and see them playing. We'd always like, now there's new words called glazing. Like we were glazing them. We were on the sidelines cheering and all that. And I was screaming his name when he's going down the sideline, and everything, bro. And I would just like watch his game, and I'll try to do everything just as he did. And it definitely helped. Soccer is definitely footwork and speed and all that. Tennis, like you said, you played. I also played tennis for a little bit because my dad wanted me to have some good hand-eye coordination. And then also basketball just hand-eye coordination, footwork, and just basically everything in general. So if you do play many sports and you also play basketball and your main focus is basketball, all those sports that you play on the side, they definitely help with your skill development.
Absolutely, definitely. When I was, when Coach B and you and I know when playing basketball and playing both sports growing up and dedicating some time to both sports really helped me. Playing soccer really helped me in basketball as much as basketball helped me into soccer. And going up and down the court when it came to the soccer field, that was all the way from the our box to the other team's box. I was like Flash, and I wasn't getting tired because playing all that basketball, which is a lot of running, and it made so much soccer so much easier for me, and it was very good. It developed me a lot, gave me a lot of stamina. I was a much different player when I was playing both sports for sure.
Yeah, I feel like playing a lot of sports definitely help you because with playing soccer, it helped me with like footwork since I came from Africa. I didn't really I wasn't really a kid who played a lot of basketball. Since I saw all my family members playing soccer, so my dream was just to like play soccer. But then I saw my brother start playing basketball, and I realized that I could just have a future with basketball too because I was taller than everybody. And also playing other sports help you because with football it helps you with your hands and.
You don't got hands, boy.
I have some problems with my hands, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it, and I'm not gonna say I could catch. I'm not gonna say I could catch more. I'm gonna just end it right
Catch
there.
more footballs. Just say footballs.
Yeah,
man.
just footballs.
Say footballs.
Footballs.
But how do you support players through adversity and also failure?
And what is your background, Sandro?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, coming from Angola, playing soccer, my dad playing academy soccer, playing for his youth national team in Angola. I mean, it really motivated me and it's really what grew me into playing soccer and becoming the player I am today. Without him developing me, and Coach B developing me to becoming a better athlete is really what made the difference for me. Even when I moved to Texas when I was 14, freshman year, and I just eased in. Players sometimes wouldn't even believe I was from Maine, because nobody in Texas really knew what Maine is. If you're a soccer player coming from Maine, it just makes it even worse. I have people telling me Maine is not a real place. They don't believe you. There's no way people are playing soccer up there. You have to be from somewhere else. And like it's really great. To play.
Nah, dude, I got a memory from that actually. When me, my dad, and my mom, we went to I think Ohio for a CP3 camp, Chris Paul's basketball showcase. And they were doing like some introduction talking about like, they're asking players from what state they're from. And all I heard like throughout the entire thing was Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, Florida, all these states. And then I raised my hand. I said, I'm from Portland, Maine. And everybody looked at me and they're like, Portland. And some kid next to me that was on my team was like, Portland, Maine, where's that? You talking about Portland, Oregon? I was like, no, Portland, Maine. He was like, oh, okay. He definitely didn't know what I was talking about. But like, definitely Maine, nobody know what Maine is, bro. Only New England people know what Maine is. The rest, they just think it's some random country that's part of U.S. or something, like Hawaii or something like that. But like,
They
nah.
ask if you're Canadian.
Yes, bro. They think I'm Canadian. I'm not Canadian, bro.
And
But-
how do you help a player develop their mental toughness and their resilience?
Mental toughness and resilience. That's something that I can say that depends on your coaching style. because coaches are really different. There's some coaches who might be a little easygoing coaches. There's some of them who might be like, hey, we mean business right here. Like, let's do this. So mental toughness, it's all about like, I would say making those decisions when you're playing, going those through drills, having like a goal that you want to achieve. Like I wouldn't let a player getting out of the gym. They said that we need to make 100 shots. You're not gonna go out of the gym without making that 100 shots. So that's a goal. We need to achieve it. You might be tired. We can take a pause, but we gotta make that decision, uh, try to achieve our goal. So that's something that can even be going with that mental toughness, knowing that you have a goal to achieve. You gotta have that grit of wanting to finish up what you started. We can't give up. So that's a mental toughness. What was the other question that you asked again? The second one?
On resilience.
Resilience. I mean, what do you have in mind?
I
What do you
mean,
think?
it's really, I mean, it's really hard to, certain players really are different people. Players are really different personalities. And
Yeah.
from my experience, I won't say I'm the best behaved player on the field. I've had my few troubles with certain situations playing, and when I was younger, and I definitely grew from it with help from coaches, and like it's built me to be a more patient player, more calm player on the field, which is very important. You notice the difference if you're a player trying to play with a hot head. It just ruins your whole game. It really does ruin your whole game. One mistake ruins your whole team, your whole game. And I mean, it's really important to be strong-minded, staying in the game, no matter what the opponent is doing to you, they're saying to you, or people understand they're saying to you. You have to stay. You have to stay strong, and it's very important.
Yeah, I could definitely follow with that because when you're in the court, you're not gonna focus on your defender talking trash to you. You're gonna pay attention to yourself and try to lock in your game. He's gonna try to like throw you off your game, but if you strong minded, you gotta stay locked in. And even if you have like a coach who's harder than you, they're always gonna try to push you even harder and harder and to do things. But if you're just locked in and listening to what he's saying, is definitely gonna make your game a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely 100%. But also, like one of my favorite things when I'm playing on the court is when the opponent really like he's just trying to get into your head, but you know he can't, and you're already playing your good game. So like honestly, that's just like that's basically like receiving trash talk from a little cousin. It's like you just don't mind it. It's just there. You just hear it, but you don't really pay attention to it. But unless if it's like a coach pushing you hard, like Israel said, definitely take that in mind, but also be locked in and just play the right way. Play your game. That's what all my coaches always tell me. So definitely that does play a big part.
Yeah. One more thing that I can add on that, what I do most of the time that I like to help with players, it's self-positive talking. Like, as you say, like you might have a good game and somebody trying to talk trash to you, trying to get into your head. So as a player, as you say, you need to lock in. You need to be positive against yourself, knowing like, hey, I got this. You gotta be positive because I've seen most of the kids who are still growing, like they don't think they're good. They don't have that. They have that self like negative talking. But hey, I'm trash. I'm not good enough. So that's gonna affect you no matter what. Because if you're talking negatively against yourself, like as a coach, there's nothing I can do about it. But I can help you getting over that by helping you talking positively against yourself. Be like, hey, I got this one. I got a next shot. Let's keep going.
Yeah, young players also have the problem of always trying to compare themselves to other players. You see this kid on IG is getting posted by this page. Oh, why isn't it me? I'm better than him, or I should be in that position. It's really important to just stay in your game. Everybody has their own path.
That is true. My dad always teaches. My dad he sends like at least 10 IG reels about self-talk, self-positivity, and it definitely helps. It's an everyday thing. I'll get at least 30 IG reels sent by my dad. Just him sending me like positivity, motivational quotes, all that stuff, just to keep in mind whenever I'm playing, and just keep me motivated throughout the games, throughout practices, and just in general throughout life. So definitely that definitely plays a big part in self-development and also player development. And coach, do you have any values that you had when you were younger that you still imply until today?
I would say uh, when I was growing, I didn't. I mean, when I was growing, I could say that I didn't want anyone to belittle me and tell me, "Hey, I can't do this." Because as I told you, like I grew up a little bit as a rebel kid, so I couldn't take no from everyone. You might tell me, "Hey, I can do this." That's on you. It's not on me. Me, I know that I can do that. So I had that rebel mind, knowing that you can't tell me what I can do, what I can do. Not in a bad way. Not trying to say that, hey, you should not listen to people. But once I set my mind on something, that's it. I gotta go do it. Either I try it and fail, but I had to experience that on my own. That way I can know, hey, maybe you guys were true. I couldn't do it. So I wanted to say that you gotta believe in yourself and set your mind to what you want to achieve. Then hope for people to help you achieve your goal.
Thank you, coach. And how do you provide constructive feedback to players?
That's a really good one. When it comes to feedback, I believe that as a coach, players are not the same. For example, the way I can give a feedback to Israel might be different to you. So it's all about knowing the player that you're giving that feedback to, and knowing that most of the kids or anybody, like when you're giving feedback, you don't start with the negative side of things. So I always encourage kids to just look for the positive output first, then go to the negative side. I don't even call it negative, something to improve on. It's not negative. All right. So that's how I give constructive feedback. People might not take it in the same way, of course. People are different, but that's how I give feedback to kids.
And how do you help your players through adversity and failure?
Oh, I can do that. I usually like for failure, like I will let you experience that because that's something that you gotta go through no matter what. You know, I've seen a lot of like parents or even coaches. I'm not gonna say this. I didn't do it. I did it at the beginning of my career. Like that's something that I learned through my career growing. It's when a kids go through the failure, like, you might see some kids like crying after the game once they lose the game. I wouldn't stop you from crying. I would let you cry because that showed me that you really care. There's some kids that they might lose a game, but boom, they're acting like nothing happened. For example, like most of you guys play at AU, like you play like 3 or 4 games, you lose one game, boom, you don't care because you know that you have another game. So I've seen some kids who cry after the game losing, but I encourage parents to be like, hey, let them go through that, let them release that emotion, and we're gonna go for the next game. But for now, you gotta go through that and experience that.
'Cause it happens, you know. Failure is really part of the process.
Yeah,
It means some if before the success, the failure will happen. You know. So,
Bro, failure definitely hurts. I can speak from experience. It like I, we- but it's like failure is like also it's like a lesson. It's a lesson to learn. It's part of the long term goal that you have. So definitely failure. I know some people might lose some championship games, state finals. Uh, our rivals team. We went to ZG finals. We got to the finals and we lost by one. But I let off some tears a little bit. Coach B was not pleasant with that one, but it's all right. I let it out already. It's the past, but we definitely gonna get it next year. But yeah, failure it is definitely a lesson to learn, but it definitely teaches you the right things that you need to learn. So yeah,
absolutely. 'Cause like for example, I remember when I used to play table tennis when I was young. Like I played someone who was a little bit older than me. I was like, hey, this is not even fair. I'm playing someone who's like above my grade, but I end up crying. But most people they think that hey, you gotta be tough. You know, you can't show your weakness. But come on, man. At the end of the day, we're human beings. We have feelings. So that's something you can go through. Some people might hide it and be like, hey, stay strong. Like especially when you came from Africa. Come on, man. We used to be even being punished and be told, hey, you can't cry.
yeah.
You know. So, but when you grow up, you understand that we're human beings. We have feelings. You gotta just let it out and dry. yeah, we're gonna cry at home. That's why people will be saying, "Hey, don't cry here. We're gonna cry at home." Especially as a man, you can show your weakness like that. So, growing up, you understand that it's feelings, let it out. Then let's look for the next. What can we do to improve? That way, we can just win. But at the end of the day, failure is part of the process.
And how often do you meet with players to discuss their development?
So repeat that again.
How do you like? Do you have you ever met with players, certain players that you've trained, and have you had a certain conversation with them? Like it depends if they're like a beginner or intermediate player. Have you had a discussion with them about if they're growing or like reducing for their skill?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I usually do is just ask players for themselves, like, how do you think you're doing? You think like you're improving? Like, do you see any changes? Some players might be like, hey, you know what? Like, I feel like some of them they're like, hey, I'm still trash. Like, I don't see anything. Like, there's no improving. But as me personally, because I try to track from where we started, where we are now, that way you can have a tangible feedback. For example, we starting with with you not even knowing how to hold the ball. Now you know how to ball. You know how to make a layup. You know how to pass the ball. So those are tangible feedback or like process we can show someone from, hey, you started from here, you're here now. Now there's an improvement. So that's how we can track and try to talk like how where do you see standing right now?
Yeah. Sandro, has any coach ever told you, talk to you about like their feedback on your game?
I mean, definitely. Especially when I got to Texas, because I guess you could. I was there for probably. I guess you can call it the prime years. From 14 to 17. That's really how when it gets really competitive compared to the other ages. That's really the high school ages, and I've really gotten great feedback. I mean, I'm grateful for having great coaches while in my time in Texas. Whether it's MLS Next, playing ECNL, even high school. I really don't have I'm really glad that I only have had great experience with coaches over there, especially my club coaches, Coach Earl, which he was a former Premier League player. He's really one of the coaches who's really changed my game, When I first got there, I wasn't really, even though I'm a my grade, I'll say the coaches tell me my grade skill is really dribbling, but I really wasn't confident when I first got there, new place, um new scenery, new competition. Yeah, my confidence really wasn't as high. And when I first got there, and Coach Earl, my rise coach, really helped me be more aggressive. Going at defenders, try to try to yeah, try to be strong. And really show what my greatest skill.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that.
Um, Also, you told us about when you played. You had an adversity playing against taller defenders. Can you teach us more about that? Like your experience against playing taller defenders and stronger and older kids.
I mean, yeah, when academy soccer or MLS Next soccer, you'll find all different kind of players, all types of builds, and you find you see a 6'4" center back and tell me this kid is 14, there's just no way, and me being a smaller player is really something that I'd say smaller players really have a difficult time. It's not impossible, to get around them, but it's something that we do face a lot, especially being a winger. But yeah, those are the defenders or the players that do make you even a better player yourself, because the tougher the competition is, the tougher you will be. So I feel like it's important. I feel like it's the right. It feels right when you're playing against players that you feel like are great. It's great to recognize it.
And how do you help players set their long term goals and how do you help them achieve those goals that they set?
Yeah. So what I do first of all to set a goal, I ask you what you want to achieve, because most of the time as coaches we think that what we want is what the kids want. There's some kids who might just come in to play at your gym or trying to train with you because they just want to have fun. They're trying to learn basketball. They're trying to build up that love of basketball. There's some of them who want to be like, you know what? I want to make varsity team this year. I want to make it to sorry, I want to play college basketball. So I gotta try first to understand your goal, what you want to achieve. That way I can know where I can stand by helping you. So, and the best way I can do that is just to go down and try to set uh, an achievable goal. By that, I mean by I won't tell you, hey, by doing this, you're going to make it to the NBA. No, like we try to achieve small goal first before we try to go for those higher goals. So before I even tell you, hey, we're gonna do this to make it to the NBA, how about we try to make it to your varsity team first? How about we try to make you prepare to make it to play college ball first? Then we can try to go to the NBA. There's nothing wrong with have that long term goal, but we gotta chop it down that way. We go through the process one by one.
Yeah, little steps, you know, to the
Yeah.
bigger goal.
I
Absolutely.
piggyback to you talking about college. How do you support a player transitioning into like higher levels, professional, college?
Yeah.
Say anything.
How to do that is by, as I say, like your age and the level of basketball you're playing at. That's how we should be practicing. All right. You can't practice like someone who's trying to play for only AU with someone who want to play to, for example, college basketball. What I do about that is just I will bring in some other players or other coaches who can help us try to build that to make it to the next level. That way we practice the same way college player practice. If they practice 5 times per week, you can't practice once per week and expect you to play at college level. It's not gonna work. So when it comes to college, like that's a different story. That's a different story. Like I don't think most kids really understand what it takes to play on a D1 college level or D2, even D3. So transitioning from high school to college, most kids they haven't even experienced what it is to play on a college level. So as I say, it's best to just get into those gyms, try to play different players to help you develop like your muscles, help you playing with those big guys that are gonna help your games building up as well.
And Sandra, how was your transitioning from playing with players from Maine and to playing with players from Texas
I
in
mean,
next pro?
it is definitely a completely different field when it comes to Maine soccer and Texas soccer. But I wouldn't say there's it's a smaller gap than people think, you know, because Texas is a bigger state, at least for the high school part of it. Playing high school soccer in Texas, even though it's a huge competition with a lot of high school teams, it wasn't that much. I didn't feel like that much of a difference or to like my game and adjusting to varsity soccer over there, you know. But club is a totally different story, you know. Playing club here and playing club over there it's different. It's much faster, more technical. I'd say probably more physical as well. But this is not to discredit main soccer, which is great. But yeah, I'd say club soccer in Texas is very developed. And but high school, I'd say the high school level is very close here
Yeah.
to Texas. I mean, you could go either way. But, yeah.
And what role do you think parents or guardians play in a player's development, coach?
I think when it comes to parents, I think they really play a big role as coaches. It's easy for me to teach a kid something, but if the parents are not on the same page with me, that's going to affect the end result of the kid. For example, uh, you need parents to tap into your coaching or your coaching philosophy. If you say, for example, we need to train 3 times per week in order for us to make it to this level, it's really important for the parents to understand why what you're doing. That way they can just help you as a coach to help the kids at the same time. Because coaching and trying to help kids develop, it gotta be two-way. It can't be only for coaches. All right.
And how do you work with other coaches and other staff to help a player and develop them?
How do I work with other coaches?
Yes.
Yeah, collaboration. Since I came to Maine, I'll be honest, it's been tough. I haven't been collaborating with much coaches. I have, for example, Jade. I've been in touch with him, and I have Coach B, and I have I have Coach Jake. So those are the coaches that have been in touch since I came to Maine. So I'm still new to Maine. This is my second year only around here, so I'm still learning my ways around. And I believe those are the coaches that have the same philosophy when it comes to coaches. So I try to stick around as much as I can to the coaches that have the same philosophy.
And do you think this generation of basketball players, like the new generation, has more skill compared to the older generation of basketball players?
Skills, that might be.
And like, yeah, well, mostly, in my opinion, I would say yes,
Yeah,
because I've seen a couple of highlights just out of curiosity of
yeah,
old school players like Magic Johnson and like Jordan. And I'm gonna be honest, what they were doing was not what I saw in new generation. Cause like nowadays we have middle schoolers windmilling,
yeah,
which is not very seen in the old generation clips. Like they were mostly starting to like, and also like, yeah, they're doing like the little switch
yeah,
hand dribbles, pound dribbles. They were just getting used to crossovers in between the legs. Nowadays we have like Shem God, we have some weird crazy moves from Mikan and all these players, and like, yeah, we have cuff dribbles now, pocket dribbles. All of these things weren't really seen. And like, if you did this back in the day with those like old refs, you're getting a travel call, carry, travel, like everything, bro. They're gonna call it on you. Especially James Harden with that triple sidestep,
yeah,
all of those, bro. They're getting called. And like we got high school, we got freshmen coming in East Bang. What else? You got like people my height, East Bang. Like for example, Romello, he's 5'8", East Bang. That's basically like Muggsy Bogues, but like Muggsy Bogues is just doing two-hand jumps, like two-hand dunks. That's all, bro. They were thinking Spud Webb was Jesus Christ after he did like some
yeah,
off the backboard two-hand dunk, bro. like, like I'm gonna be honest, bro. They were just like gassing him up all the time. But like I'm gonna be honest, new generation
yeah.
is definitely a lot of steps ahead.
Yeah, I will say that skills wise, yes, like the kids right now, like it's really phenomenal. They're more even athletic. Like like you might see like a 14-year-old kids who jump and dunk, do crazy things like that. But when it comes to skills, yeah, I would say yes. But one question will be, are they good basketball players? I think that's the question right now. Like you might have skills, yes, you can dribble, you can do windmill, dunk over someone, but are you really a good basketball player? Can you make the right decision in the right time? That's the question. Yeah,
That's definitely a big difference.
yeah,
You got people over dribbling Julian Newman, putting his
yeah,
head down, bro. They got people doing too much nowadays, but
And how do
it's
you
just
feel about like same thing they said about for basketball about Liz, same thing for soccer.
I
yeah,
mean, it's probably the same thing. The game, people have a hard time understanding that the game is getting better every day. The game is not gonna slow down. It's always getting better. You know,
yeah,
people are always developing. Teams are always developing. Players are always developing. You know, so yeah, I'd say today's game is definitely better than it was like 30 years ago, or like yeah. Real Madrid, for example, you
yeah,
put Real Madrid today against Real Madrid 30 years ago,
yeah,
they're definitely getting smoked. The game does not stop. The game is not stopping for anybody. It's
yeah,
always getting better. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Yo,
I
Around
mean,
30 years ago.
I mean, yeah. You put the best attacker today against the best attacker 30 years ago. I'd say Dembele is smoking whoever it was.
yeah.
It's not stopping.
What about wingers though? They
I mean,
got
yeah.
some comp back then.
Today's wingers, they're starting from midfield all the way to the next to the goal. I mean,
It's
it's
dangerous.
crazy. Dembele, even Lamine Yamal today. What 17-year-old was doing that like 30 years ago? Game is it's just gonna keep getting better. Right now it's a 17-year-old. 20 years from now it could be a 14-year-old
Mhm.
So,
doing what he's doing. So it's just gonna keep getting better.
And how do you work with other coaches, or maybe if you do work with other coaches? Say for example, me Israel and my dad come in the gym for a quick workout, and my dad also starts to collaborate with you. How do you work with another coach to help a player's development?
How I work with that is that I need to come with a plan and try to talk to other coaches as well, because we're trying to help kids. It's not like I'm just trying to do everything on my own, you know. So we gotta make sure that we're on the same page. We're trying to have not the same vision, because we might have different vision. That's fine, but we can try to come with a plan and try to help our kids develop. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to. The kids are the beneficiary of what we're trying to do. So as coaches, we're trying to collaborate and know, hey, maybe this kid need to work on his shooting. He need to work on his ball handling, all those stuff. For example, for me, I'm really good at offense. I might have, for example, Coach B or somebody else who might be really good at defense. So I try to tap in with other different coaches to try to come together so we can have a really uh, good practice to help that kids grow.
And what kind of philosophy?
Philosophy.
Yeah, philosophy.
Philosophy.
I can't blame you. I can't blame you for
That word
that.
is hard.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Say it
Yeah.
again. What's the word?
Philosophy.
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 Yeah.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you have?
Me personally, you see, it's laughing. Yeah. Me personally, my philosophy can change, as I told you, because I've coached different levels. I've coached like professional. I've coached semi-pro. I've coached like young kids. So it's not about my philosophy. It's all about like knowing who I'm coaching and knowing what can work best for them. Because as I told you, the way I coach someone who's a 20-year-old, I cannot coach the same way as someone who's like 10 years old. So your philosophy got to change a little bit to try to help that kids or anybody at that level. But the only thing that I just emphasize on is respect. As an African, born and raised, respect got to be always there. Anything else, we can work on that, but respect got to be there.
And also, can you tell us more about you coaching overseas and professional?
Yeah, I coached Division One back in Rwanda in Division Two. Back then, it wasn't like really, really advanced because we didn't have that much infrastructure. We didn't have like that much like indoor courts, like indoor arenas, like something like that. Like you can, some people don't even know that I didn't step on like a wood floor, for example, like 3 or 4 years ago. So technically, like for example, in Rwanda, the first arena that we got, like an indoor court, I think that's Kigali Arena. That's not even like 7 years old right now, if I believe. So uh, I will say like coaching over there, it's way different from here. Like there's love of basketball, like but there's lack of infrastructures. And right now, I think they're in good hands. Things are growing. Like people are investing a lot of money there. People are willing to pay coaches to coach them. So things are growing over there, and it's tough to coach in Africa. It's tough. Like I'm pretty sure Coach B can explain that to you guys. It's tough. But right now the game is growing because there's like NBA is investing. There's BAL right now. Yeah. So like as basketball right now, because remember like football is the main or soccer is the main sport. So
Yes.
basketball love is growing right now. Investment, BAL, things like that coming in right now.
And as a coach, how do you see NIL like helping players out throughout their careers?
I think right now, from the deal that I've heard, like that been going on for a while, like kids now can tap into and make some money right now. I think before, like, it used to be just only everything goes to college, but kids right now can start like having a little bit of a taste of like what is a professional basketball look like. You can have those deals. You can try to help your family getting out of situation, whatever situation that you guys are in. So I think it's really helping like most athletes right now. Not only the school, like kids can just get out of poverty. They can make money that can go back to their family and help them.
And how do you feel about that, Sandro?
I agree. I usually people talk about NIL being as a bad thing or like not making athletes work as harder, but I think it's really just motivation to like what they can get at the next level. So it's really helping them instead of slowing them down. I feel like.
I definitely see that one too. You got high school players going to college making like $3 million, like getting $3 million just going to play like basketball in college. You would definitely want to continue doing that for the rest of your life. Like if you're getting that much money at a young age, imagine what you're gonna get when you get older. So honestly, like NIL is definitely plays a big role in people's careers. It may be a distraction for some players, but they might focus more on money and they just start going partying and just doing other stuff, not really focusing on what got them that money. That's where it can become a bad part, like a bad thing. And some players kind of encourage that stuff by spending all their money and getting new cars, buying houses, and all that. That doesn't really like help you with your basketball career. Buying a new house doesn't really help you become a better shooter, or a better ball handler, or a better defensive player. You just gotta really put in that work in the gym. And trust me, the work that people don't see is the one that's gonna pay off. So honestly, like that's what definitely helps with like your basketball career, and also NILs come in clutch like crazy. So yeah, and also, how do you evaluate like players' games throughout their careers? And also, like as a coach, you may be at an AAU game and you see a good athlete or a good player, and you evaluate his game, but you also want to give him some advice on his weaknesses. How do you do that?
Yeah, I try to go as to much to many game as I can, but for me to track that, I just go there, try to be. I'm not trying to be a coach on the sideline. Like I'm there as a fan, and like everybody is. I'm not trying to be like some of those crazy parents who go like trying to coach at the game. So I'm there as a fan. I watch the game.
Somebody in
Let
the
the coach,
background.
let the coach do. Let the coach do
Coach
their
D.
job. And what I encourage most time to the players, like me, for example, whatever the teacher at my gym, don't be. I used to read this book. They say like, don't be stupid. Whatever the coach told you, you gotta listen to them. It's not about me. So don't be stupid. Listen to your coach. Know me, because I'm a coach. By the end of the day, when I come to watch your games, I'm there to support you like anybody else. Yeah. So I might say, hey, for example, like you missed this, or you did great on this, but at the end of the day, like you gotta lock in, listen to your coaches. We might work on that, like on the next session that we might have together, but lock in and based on how your result came out, I don't focus on like your makes or your misses. That can depend on the game, but I only focus mostly on your game decision making. That's what I focus on most of the time.
And how do you feel about having support? Because I know you went to Texas by yourself, right?
No, he was there with his parents.
Yeah, with your parents. Okay.
What was it like receiving support from your parents playing soccer at Pado High School in Texas?
I mean, it was great. Parents are always there. No matter the situation. Whether stuff happens on the field, but it's important to know that you always got your family there. And at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's very important that you always to always have support. Nobody's capable of doing it by themselves. So I feel like it's important. Support really helps us. It's really the help. It's part of the process. It's an important part of the process that people don't really talk about.
Quick question: as a player, do you think your parents' presence does it play a good factor to your game, or does it make you nervous because you have to like play well in front of them?
I mean, I can go both ways. It really just depends. I personally see it as a motivation,
Yeah.
but it also depends on what kind of game it is. Because
Yeah.
at times my dad is at the game. I'll probably play a little nervous because I'm trying to do good, and he's over there
Yeah.
in the sideline telling me, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that," and
Yeah.
like I'm playing kind of nervous at times, but it could definitely go both ways.
Yeah, I could definitely piggyback to what you said, because like whenever Coach B or like I had my parents parents, come to the game, it was like I was trying to do the best to to impress them, because I know they know I put a lot of effort into the game and I work hard every day. So I just try to go through it and do everything I can.
But yeah, it can be just like that tiny bit of pressure, that little bit, like you're warming up and you look back and you see your mom and dad there, like, oh shoot, I gotta lock in. I can't be doing this. I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
But really, that's it's just another way of motivating you. And definitely when I'm playing, I can speak for myself. I have my dad on the sideline, definitely giving me some advice. He's always there telling me, he's always motivating me after the game. He gives me a hug, daps me up, handshake, something like that. He definitely tells me what I did wrong first before I even say anything. He just immediately just gets on me. And then after that, he tells me, oh, good job, you did good on this, good on that. And he always, no matter what, no matter where we are, he's going to talk trash. He's just no filter no matter where we are. But, he's teaching me the right thing. So as long as he teaches me a good lesson, that's all that matters. So, yeah.
Me personally, I would say, me personally, I would say what I would encourage to kids is that you gotta go out there, man, have fun. That's what I encourage the most, because at the end of the day, you're playing for yourself. You're not playing for me. It's not like I'm gonna just jump into the court and do that for yourself. Sometimes, when I'm on the baseline, I feel like, oh my goodness, I wish I can just go in and do this for myself sometime. But at the end of the day, you're the one playing. I try to encourage you to make the right decision. I mean, you're not here to impress me. You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to play for yourself and making sure you're going, you're doing what we plan to do. You're doing something that was we had a plan to do. So at the end of the day, whatever pressure that you feel, from the stands, from the fans, from your parents, lock in, have fun. At the end of the day, it's a game. I'm not saying that you shouldn't lock in and try to be hey, it's whatever, but you're not here to impress anyone. You're here to play for yourself and making sure you're making good decisions as a basketball player or as a soccer player.
A little funny story from that, actually. Every time at Rivals, right, we go to Rivals practice, and we'll go inside, and my dad goes to park real quick, and we'll be doing our warm-ups, and on the 8th grade team that me and Israel play for, every time that my dad's not in there, some of them will be goofing off. We'll be cracking jokes sometimes, right? And then I see my dad in the distance coming through the door, and I look back. I was like, oh, shoot, I got to lock in. And so when someone notices that I'm not talking as much, it's because they know my dad's here. And shout out to Jalen Hazelton. Jalen, he'll say, yo, Bubba's here, because that's what I call my dad, Bubba. Yeah. And everybody, they just lock in. No one's cracking jokes. It's just everybody just starts playing serious. Yeah. It's just that's how it is sometimes. It's just you just got to lock in when someone's important is there. So definitely that's how it goes. Absolutely. But, what's good, JoJo? But, that's how it is, though.
I think one thing I can add on that is that, from coaching for a while, sometimes I find out there's some kids that I used to have in the gym, they're not coming to train because they want to train. They come in to train because they have a pressure on their back. So what I can say about that is that, there's some kids who might not even want to play basketball, but because they have a pressure from the coach or somebody from their family pushing them. There's nothing wrong with pushing kids, but you got to make sure that you're here because you want to be here. Because at the end of the day, I would teach you whatever thing that I want teaching you, but if you don't want to be here, you're not going to have any result because you're here because of fear. You're not here because you want to be here.
Yes, you definitely don't want the sports to turn into a chore,
Yeah.
You have to be there for the love of it.
Absolutely. You got to enjoy it. You got to want to be there.
Because we said this, he said it again, say it again.
Yeah,
Quote of the year.
Say it again.
Yo, put this on every IG reel, bro. Motivational IG reels, bro.
Yeah, like I was saying, you really don't want the sport to start to feel like a chore, You want to do for the love of it, It's your passion. You don't want to feel like a job or your parents or family forcing you to do it. You do it for the love of it.
Quote of the day, by the way, guys.
Yeah, you know those IG reels or those TikToks is this mindset, and every time it stops the video, it makes that weird noise.
Yeah.
That one, put it on those, bro. It's gonna be all over the place. 30,000, 30 million likes, bruh. But let's talk about the NBA playoffs, the most weirdest finals, playoff, everything, bro. The weirdest, everything was so weird. What were your thoughts on those?
I mean, like I'm telling you, like after that injury, like I knew something was off. Like there's something that's gonna change right away. Like they try to stay in the game as much as they can. Like you can tell that they try to stay there and fight the whole way. But that's someone who give you 20 something point easy. So losing someone like that on the final, especially like that bring the whole energy down. I mean, those are professionals. They've been through like ups and downs. They can handle that. But losing someone like that, like I mean, that's crazy. Me personally, I wanted Indiana to win. I wanted to see Siakam winning a second ring, but it is what it is, man. It's part of the game. Things like that happen. But welcome to the NBA. Like you got injury, you got
It's-
best
Yeah,
people to help
Achilles,
you out.
Achilles injury is definitely the worst way to go out, no matter what game it is. Definitely felt bad for Tyrese Halliburton. I know I made this pretty obvious throughout the beginning of the playoff podcast that I wanted either the Lakers
Yeah.
or the OKC Thunder to win. I'm not really that biased. I knew Lakers weren't gonna go too far with Timberwolves in the first round. Uh, we had Shannon Sharp gassing them up. Lakers in five. You got UFC, OKC, KFC. Like they really whooped us. They whooped us bad. It turns out to be Wolves in five. So
Yeah.
it hurts, but we got the Wolves back. OKC got them. At least Anthony Edwards wasn't so mad about it. He admitted it that he definitely got whooped. He said in the interview, it's on ESPN's TikTok. I was cheering for them. Celtics got upsetted by the Knicks. Then the Knicks got somehow, injuries throughout that playoffs were weird. We had two Achilles injuries, and then from Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton
And Jason Tatum.
and Jason Tatum. Yeah, three, matter of fact, which were the weirdest injuries. Some people are making some conspiracy theory about the number 0 curse. That kind of put a little bit of a shock into me because in summer league I had number 0, but let's just pray to God that never happens. But definitely one of the weirdest playoffs ever that I've ever seen. It's definitely not something you want to see as a Celtics fan or a Lakers fan or a Pacers fan. So like definitely not the greatest. Why did you want Pascal Siakam to win another ring?
I mean, like, it might be a little bit personal because I always cheer for those kids from Africa because, like, those kids, they come a long way. I'm not against anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have their own story from where they come from. But me personally, I can relate because I'm from Africa. We know how hard it is to make it, not even to make it to the NBA, to come to the States. That's a different story, too. So it was more personal, and I kind of like how he plays, especially with his height, like how he can just get into the paint and pull up those shots. I really like his game. So that was a little bit personal for me. I wanted him to win because of that. And he played in the Raptors, like in Canada. So that was one of the teams that I really used to like growing up. So it was a little bit personal for me on that end.
Yeah, I see that poster Pascal Siakam had in, I think, Game 6.
Yeah.
That poster was dangerous.
You can't guard him. You can't guard
Like,
that
it was
guy.
like...
Yeah, I feel like those demons, man.
you saw that during the prayer, bro? He put his head up and, like, his eyes
Yeah.
rolled back.
Nah, man.
That one had me shocked. People
I think
actually started to, like, cook him on that.
I think he caught
Nah.
the demons, so they came to help him out.
And
They didn't work
then
out.
someone took a picture of after he punched on Jalen Williams on J Will. He was leaning back and like Pascal Siakam was kind of like staring him down, and someone took that picture and posted it on Instagram and Twitter and said Jalen Williams saw those demons Pascal Siakam was praying to before the game. I was dying laughing, bro. That video, too funny. Those black magic accusations throughout the playoffs made it so weird. Like, I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the thing. Like when you do something that people don't really understand, they try to make their own stories. For him, like he might tell you a different story why he do that, but people they always judge, especially when you do something either they're not used to or it's the first time they see it. They're gonna judge no matter what.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that one.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Yeah.
black sauce.
So
Yeah, people use sniffing smelling salts just to get their energy going down. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's really a drug. It can be called as a drug, but like I don't really see it as that. But I don't
I
use
can
it.
I can relate to what you said because Kyrie Irving was burning like
Oh yeah,
sage
that's
on the
Yeah.
court.
sage on the
so
court.
it's kind of like weird for like an NBA player to do that just out of nowhere.
absolutely.
So it's like strange for people to see that, and then also when they see Pascal Siakam do that when they're playing,
Yeah.
and when you pray with somebody, you're like people are really be like, oh, why would you guys go back?
Yeah.
So it's like
What if he was
lot
about to
of
sneeze, bro? Like what if he was about to sneeze?
Controversy going into that.
Absolutely. Like one story that I remember, like growing up back home, like we used to have this player. He was from Burundi, I think. He used to play for a team called APR. It's like an army team. So the guy couldn't wear socks in his shoes. So that was his thing. He didn't feel comfortable wearing like socks in his shoes because it depends on how you grew up. Some kids like they just put their shoes in, they put their foot in the shoe, they just go play basketball. But for someone who sees that and feel like, hey, that's kind of weird or that's kind of disgusting. Like, is that your ritual? What are you trying to do? Is that your juju? Like, everybody have their own thing they
Yeah.
do to help them. Like, for example, have a good game. For example, like LeBron throwing those things up. Like, nobody talks about it anymore because they got used to it right now.
It's like, and also like, you know how they're doing like the national anthem, and then like as they're finished, the players like go off and like LeBron, he does this like weird thing with his hands. He's like doing this, and then like he runs off and like starts screaming and stuff. Like people were saying that he's like summoning some demon before the game and stuff. I was like, what? Like that's just his ritual. Some players have different ones. Like Steph, he runs to the hoop and like jumps on it, hits it with his shoulder, and then runs back. And Jason Tatum, he goes to the hoop, he hangs and like holds the net and like has his own prayer. It's like different players have their own different things. And also Westbrook, he would hit the folks or like he would run full speed and like do something like that. And like, you know, it's like different players have their different things, you know. So it's like it's definitely like that's when basketball gets like special to a person. That's how you know like they value the sport. So that's definitely like some different things for other players. Oh yeah, definitely. Shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, JoJo, Coach B, Israel, Sandro, Coach Ali. Thank you for being here. You know, just everybody. Thank you. Thank you for our viewers, subscribers. Shout out Grandma, Grandpa. You got all my cousins, my aunties and uncles. Who else? Got my Dukes upstairs, my brothers, all my friends, everybody. Shout out to y'all. You know, just thank you guys for supporting me in my journey. We appreciate everything. We appreciate you guys for the subscribers, all the subscribers, everybody, the viewers. Hey, bro, drop a like, subscribe. You know, Israel will break that down for y'all, you know.
Shout out to you know, all the supporters out there. Thank you for always supporting us. Thank you for all the thank you for all the hugs. Shout out Jasmine. I say thank you for everybody. Thank you for the family. Thank you for God. I make sure everybody keeps God into your life, man. You need God. You know them people do.
You got the black man team in the NBA, bro. Weirdest playoffs at all time.
Shout out
bro.
Rivals Nation. Shout out Gorilla. Shout out Blue Wave. Shout out Korska. Shout out Coach Vin. Shout out all the players. And,
Aiden, Jalen, Zaya,
yeah.
all of them.
Oh, this weekend, South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to my family back in Texas. You know, yeah.
I'd like to appreciate you guys for having me today. And I would say shout out to all the kids in Maine who are trying to keep and try to put into that work. Like, it's a long way to go, but you got to head in the gym. The only thing that I always say, like, if you ask me for any life advice, it's only get in the gym. That's all.
Oh, and if someone want to get some work in, hit up Coach Ali on Instagram. Coach Ali, you want to give them your Instagram by any chance or your phone number?
My Instagram is Ali or Rugira Ali. I don't use Coach anymore, so right now it's only Rugira Ali. Or you can shout out me or try to email me or reach out to me from Ubuntu Maras Basketball on Instagram as well.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for another episode on the Playoff Podcast and obviously on the Playbook, which we're filming on today. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Give us some ideas in the comment section and just have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Keep Jesus and God in your life. Follow Christ and have a great rest of your day.